On the planet Turo, Dr. Jumba Jukiba stands trial before the United Galactic Federation for conducting illegal genetic experiments. His most notorious creation, Experiment 626, is a highly destructive, nearly indestructible creature with advanced intelligence and learning capabilities. Found guilty, Jumba is imprisoned and Experiment 626 is sentenced to exile. However, 626 manages to escape hijacking a Galactic Federation police cruiser and using its hyperdrive to flee. His escape leads him to Earth, where he crash lands on the Hawaiian island of Kauai. In response, the Grand Councilwoman offers Jumba a chance at freedom on the condition that he captures 626. To assist him, she assigns Earth expert agent Pleakley deputizing the pair for the mission. Meanwhile, on Earth, a young Hawaiian girl named Lilo Pelikai is struggling with her own challenges. She's expelled from hula school after pushing her classmate Myrtle off the stage in a moment of frustration. At home, her older sister and guardian nanny is visited by their stern social worker, Mrs. Kakoa. Mrs. Kakoa finds Nanny unfit to care for Lilo under current conditions and gives her 1 week to set things right. After the visit, tensions rise between the sisters. Nanny chases Lilo through the house, and they end up wrestling on the couch. Lilo eventually wriggles free from a headlock and retreats to her room, while Nanny, overwhelmed, screams into a pillow in frustration. Back in space, Experiment 626 causes a malfunction in the stolen cruiser, sending it hurtling toward Earth. That night, after another argument, Nanny and Lilo sit together and spot what they believe to be a shooting star. Unaware that it's actually 626 crash-landing, Lilo makes a wish upon it. Experiment 626's crash disrupts a nearby wedding reception, and after a chaotic encounter including getting hit by a tourist trolley, is eventually captured and taken to a local animal shelter. Unbeknownst to anyone on Earth, a wild adventure is about to begin. The following day, Lilo's elderly neighbor Tutu takes her to the local animal shelter, where Experiment 626 has been locked up. Realizing that Jumba and Pleakley are on his trail, 626 disguises himself as a dog to avoid detection. Lilo, drawn to his unusual appearance, decides to adopt him. Seeing an opportunity to stay hidden, 626 willingly goes with her. She names him Stitch after Nanny jokes about needing to stitch up the car seat he tore during the ride home. Later, Lilo spots her classmate Myrtle riding a toy Jeep and proudly introduces Stitch. When Myrtle mocks Lilo again, Stitch retaliates by tipping Myrtle over and stealing the Jeep. Lilo and Stitch drive to a scenic cliff where Lilo admires the ocean view. However, Stitch quickly realizes he's stranded on an island surrounded by water which he hates. Frustrated and unable to escape, he throws a tantrum and falls off the toy Jeep. They eventually return the wrecked vehicle to a furious Myrtle. Soon after, Nanny is visited again by Mrs. Kakoa, this time accompanied by Cobra Bubbles, a former CIA agent posing as a social worker. Bubbles is secretly investigating the strange energy signature from Stitch's arrival. Mrs. Kakoa warns Nanny that her situation is becoming critical and insists she find another job immediately. Nanny scrambles to attend multiple interviews, but Stitch and Lilo's unpredictable behavior leads to a string of rejections. Despite the setbacks, Lilo helps Nanny land a position as a surfing instructor. After Nanny's first shift, they celebrate with a relaxing surf session. Meanwhile, Jumba and Pleakley continue their attempts to capture Stitch. Their latest effort involves jet skis, but it goes disastrously wrong. The chase results in all of them wiping out in the water. Stitch, unable to swim, sinks, nearly taking Lilo with him as she tries to save him. The rescue narrowly succeeds, but the incident raises deeper concerns for everyone involved. After Lilo recovers in the hospital, Mrs. Kakoa delivers difficult news to Nanny. The Hawaiian government will cover Lilo's medical expenses, but only if Nanny gives up guardianship. Heartbroken but wanting the best for her sister, Nanny reluctantly agrees. That night, the sisters quietly spend what could be their final evening together, cherishing each other's company. Elsewhere, Stitch, troubled by the chaos he's caused and the pain he's brought to Lilo, makes a quiet decision. Filled with regret, he returns to the animal shelter alone. Back in space, the Grand Councilwoman grows increasingly frustrated with Jumba's repeated failures to capture Stitch. She terminates his agreement and orders Pleakley to return him to prison. Refusing to give up, Jumba defies the order and sets out to capture Stitch on his own. The next morning, Mrs. Cocoa and Cobra Bubbles arrive to find Lilo missing from her room. Alarmed, they team up with Nanny to search the island. Meanwhile, Lilo finds Stitch at the shelter. Their reunion is cut short when Jumba suddenly arrives to apprehend Stitch once more. The three of them flee back to Lilo's home. A fierce battle erupts between Stitch and Jumba, leaving the house in ruins. Pleakley arrives in the middle of the chaos only to be incapacitated when Lilo accidentally pepper sprays him. As the fight ends, Jumba reveals a painful truth. Stitch had only been using Lilo to hide from his pursuers. Crushed, Stitch surrenders himself and opens a portal using Jumba's dimensional gun. Before stepping through, he urges Lilo to run for safety as the collapsing roof caves in around her. Jumba takes Stitch aboard his spaceship, determined to erase his emotional development and return him to his original destructive state. Unwilling to lose her friend, Lilo sneaks onto the ship, manages to free Stitch, and the two work together to eject Jumba from the vessel. However, in the struggle, the ship is damaged and crashes into the ocean. Trapped underwater, Lilo begins to drown. Stitch rescues her, but with no strength left to surface himself, he releases her and begins to sink, sacrificing himself so she can live. Nanny and David arrive just in time to rescue Lilo from the ocean, but she refuses to leave Stitch behind. Understanding her devotion, David carries Lilo back to shore, while Nanny bravely dives down to retrieve Stitch from the ocean floor. They make it back to the beach, but Stitch remains lifeless. Soon after, Cobra Bubbles finds a dazed Pleakley and brings him back to the group. Acting quickly, David manages to revive Stitch by jump-starting his lungs. Just as Stitch takes a breath, the Grand Councilwoman lands and rearrests Jumba. However, upon witnessing Stitch's transformation and his bond with Lilo, she has a change of heart. Instead of taking him into custody, she permits Stitch to remain on Earth in exile, recognizing that he has found a true family. Pleakley is also allowed to stay behind as an official observer. In time, they rebuild their home stronger than ever. Nanny departs for California to study marine biology, while Lilo, Stitch, and the rest of the family continue their life on the island. The credits roll, closing the story with love, laughter, and a family that chose each other.